Has anyone ever stopped to say, how do you know what you know or what you think you know? And what would it take to disprove that belief? And in case that's kind of a test for a lot of people. Well, through religion, there's nothing you could tell somebody to learn to disprove that belief because it's a matter of faith. Science is a little bit different. There are things that all you have to say is, well, if there's, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, some vigorous academic research, accredited university controlled, or somebody in their home lab. It's like, can the science be replicated? What are the long-term studies? What does the data say? Has it been tested? Can it be replicated? That's science. It's not a matter of faith. Nothing against matters of faith. Matters of faith are something deeper and truly weird. But this is simple science. This is just simple science that apparently not a whole lot of people are well versed on. Because the idea of having people wear a piece of fabric, if you want to wear a piece of fabric, fine. But no, does anyone ever stop to say, was it effective? Does it stop the carriers? There's the particle itself, and then there's the things it can attach to and carry it, and go, well, is it effective? And in a lab, you do things like you have two aquariums hooked up, dry aquariums, and you have like rats in one, and you have fabric filter with a certain pore size on the other. It's like this. Michael Crichton wrote a book about this in the 70s. It was made into a movie. He explains the experiment. And if you've done a bio, you know it. So you pass this gas through the filters, and the rats keep dying, and at some pore size you get smaller and smaller, the particles don't pass through and the rats don't die. You go, okay, that's the size of the particle. We can say it's roughly about that size because it's not passing through the filter. My point is, how many people have say, well, have there been any studies that show how effective, what word am I trying to say, how effective the masks are? Like, what if they're not? I'm not, and I personally, I'm assuming they are effective. I'm assuming, but I'm also going to kind of go on the assumption that, if you're going to wear something, why not wear an N95? It seems weird that they're pushing some things and not others. A lot of this feels like fear prawn. I'm not hearing science. I'm hearing appeals to authority, which is something different. It's appealing to the scientist in the lab coat versus appealing to the data itself. And I'm not seeing these news come up with data, hard science, and saying, okay, here are the studies. We tested the masks, and here are the studies. Yes, because the truth of the matter is, a lot of these studies are going to say, okay, yes, the masks are effective, but they're not that effective. They decrease transmission rates by 17%. So is it worth wearing a mask? Yeah, probably. But they feel like we can't trust people with the truth, and they go, oh, or what are the long-term side effects of the experimental substance? Well, there are none, or they're unknown as of yet. Why aren't we talking about that? Because all of this is an appeal to authority. You're basically saying, trust the people who are pushing this. Well, are the media? And I always respond to people who go, why would you trust the media and the government? And that's where we are now. It's like all these appeals to authority now are failing because the authority is lying to us. And I'm not saying about this. This could be perfectly above board. And honestly, if you put a gun to my head and said, what are the long-term side effects of this experimental substance? I say, statistically, they're probably going to be absolutely benign. They're probably going to be fine. It's not going to be anything inimical to your health, just based on past performance. But that's no guarantee. And are any of these pharmaceutical companies been sued? Have they ever been negligent, which is, unreasonable person test under similar circumstances? Have they ever been reckless, which is a little bit higher? Have they ever been sued and lost? Have they ever had to pull things from the market? Yes, the answer to all those, yes, they've done all these things. So maybe this appeal to authority is falling on deaf ears because the authority is not to be trusted. Anyway, so mom rages after teacher tapes, and you're reading this, is going to tick you off, but don't get mad. Don't get mad because get white pill. Take the white pill. Join the community of other people who are talking about this. Don't just get outraged about this. Talk about it and start fighting back about this stuff. Mom rages after teacher tapes mask. This is like South Park when the teacher stapled the guy's Cartman's glasses to his forehead. Tapes a mask to a 9-year-old's face. She called the police because, it's a harmful or offensive touching. That is a battery. So, yes, arrest that teacher at once. You should not be touching the students to do them offensive touchings. A Las Vegas substitute teacher allegedly taped a mask over a fourth grade child's mouth. Now, the reason I'm curious about this Wu-Flu issue is because it doesn't feel like there's science behind it. It feels like this is a way to coalesce power in an authority figure. And all the governments around the world are all doing this, and it feels like they're all, like, they realize this is like a Patriot Act 20 years later, a way to remove liberties, grab power, consolidate power. I would, if you told me, like, oh yeah, this is literally going to delete 1% of all human life versus you maintain your liberties. I say, well, then it's going to delete 1% of human life. There's no giving up liberty for safety, because at the end, over a long enough scale, and in this case, we're talking like scales of decades, they're going to take it away anyway. Yes, I would rather a loved one suffer, myself included, than give up liberty. Getting liberty back from the government is really rather difficult through peaceful means. You can't vote your way out of something that you didn't vote your way into. Anyway, so the incident happened at elementary school where the mother claims her son was humiliatingly made an example of in front of his peers. My point was that the teacher, one side of the argument is, did she feel she was doing this as a matter of public safety? I really don't think so. I think, she sounds like a psychopath, but also, like, why the governments are doing this is a matter of control and manipulation. People are waking up, and I hope they wake up all the way and decide, you know what, we'd rather have dangerous liberty than be cattle slaves. I was furious. Yes, I'm furious listening to it. I was scared for my son and what kind of long-term effect it's going to have on him socially. The fact that the entire class was laughing on him. I was scared for my son. The mom says, "Little starving boy forgot to don his mask. He's in the fourth grade. After getting a drink of water, he went to get a sip of water, forgot to put the mask on. Teacher did not tell him to put it back on or send him to the office. She pulled him up the front of the class in front of all the students, and she taped the mask across the top of his face. Substitute then added more tape securing the mask to nose and forehead. This is insane. The boy went to pick up her homework. A school administrator noticed the tape and probably lost her freaking mind and informed the principal. The administrator also saw another student. Well, that's actually kind of good, because humiliating one student is only really effective when you only humiliate one. If you do it to a bunch of students, it kind of lessens the impact. If you remember childhood, that kind of stuff. She asked her son if other students have been taped. He said yes. It's been happening since the beginning of the school year. According to the mom, someone was very upset. He was crying. He's been humiliated. Oh, yeah, arrest the teacher for the battery. Principal informed the family. The parent hopes teacher. The parent also filed a police report because it's up. Well, here's the thing: the principal should have filed a police report. Like you said, we can't focus. You should have said, yeah, we called the police and they're investigating. So you can. Here's the detective's number. They should have stepped up. And if it's been happening since the beginning of the year, that means it's happening with the consent of the administrators and the principals. So I don't know if you're jointly and severally liable for the intentional infliction of emotional distress or the battery. But morally, at least, this is an environment that you're creative that's conductive to this type of behavior. This is insane. Fight back against these type of people. And just openly say, yeah, I would rather dangerous liberty than to be just nothing more than slaves. Life is about more than being. There's no guaranteed health for anything. I mean, how many restrictions on your liberty are you willing to accept? How many more restrictions? I think we need to start going in the other direction of letting people figure things out for themselves. Removing some of those idiot warnings, perhaps. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys, and I will see you all next episode.